The studio buzzed with anticipation as the cameras rolled on the Today Show set, where Roker, with his signature charm and weather reporter grin, welcomed the legendary Chaka Khan to the morning broadcast. The audience clapped enthusiastically, their excitement palpable for the 10-time Grammy winner known for hits like I'm Every Woman and Ain't Nobody. Ever the Professional, began with light banter, asking Chaka about her recent Rock Roll Hall of Fame induction and her illustrious career spanning over 5 decades. Chaka, radiant in a vibrant outfit that mirrored her bold personality, responded with her characteristic wit, sharing anecdotes about her friendship with Prince and her journey through the music industry. But the tone shifted when Al brought up a controversial topic, her candid remarks on a 2023 podcast where she critiqued Rolling Stone's 200 Greatest Singers list, calling out placements like Mariah Carey's and Adele's while dismissing the rankings as divisive. Al, aiming for a playful probe, asked if she stood by those comments or regretted stirring the pot. Chaka's smile tightened, her eyes narrowing slightly as she leaned forward, her voice steady but sharp, saying she never meant to hurt anyone but felt the list pitted artists against each other unfairly. Al, perhaps sensing a chance to dig deeper for the audience's sake, pressed on, asking if her apology on Instagram was genuine or just damage control. The audience sensed the tension, their murmurs growing as Chaka's posture stiffened, her fingers tapping rhythmically on the armrest. She countered that her apology was heartfelt, but she wasn't one to sugarcoat her truth, especially when the industry often played favorites. Al's follow-up question about whether she felt overlooked by such lists sparked a visible spark in Chaka's demeanor, her voice rising as she accused the media of twisting her words for clicks. The segment, meant to celebrate her legacy, was veering into uncharted territory, with Al trying to steer it back with a chuckle, but Chaka wasn't laughing. Her frustration was clear. She felt cornered, not celebrated, and the exchange was only beginning to heat up as the cameras captured every nuanced glance between them. As the conversation continued, Roker attempted to pivot, bringing up Chaka Khan's storied career and her influence on modern artists, hoping to diffuse the growing tension. He mentioned her collaboration with Ariana Grande on Nobody for the 2019 Charlie's Angels soundtrack, asking if she'd consider working with younger artists again. Chaka's response was swift and biting, referencing her 2020 interview where she dismissed the idea of collaborating with Grande again, saying she preferred artists who didn't rely on auto-tune or media hype. The audience gasped, and Al, caught off guard, tried to lighten the mood with a joke about the challenges of keeping up with today's pop stars. But Chaka wasn't having it. She leaned into her point, arguing that the music industry today often prioritized image over raw talent, a stark contrast to her era with Rufus and her solo work. Al, sensing an opportunity to engage, asked if she thought her outspokenness ever overshadowed her musical achievements, citing her past comments about Kanye West's sampling of Through the Fire. Chaka's eyes flashed with indignation as she defended her right to speak her mind, noting that her honesty came from years of navigating an industry that didn't always value her contributions. She recounted how her 1984 hit I Feel For You, written by Prince, broke barriers as one of the first R&B tracks with a rap feature, yet she still fought for recognition. Al, perhaps misjudging the moment, suggested that her fiery reputation might intimidate younger artists, a comment that landed like a spark in dry grass. Chaka's voice rose, accusing Al of framing her as the angry black woman stereotype, a label she battled her entire career. The studio fell silent, the crew exchanging nervous glances as Al stammered, insisting he meant no offense. Chaka, unyielding, pointed out that media figures like him often pushed narratives that reduced artists like her to controversy rather than celebrating their artistry. The argument escalated as she challenged him to name one time he'd championed her work without bringing up drama. Al, visibly flustered, tried to redirect to her upcoming projects, but Chaka was done playing nice, her frustration with the media's fixation on her outspoken moments boiling over in front of a stunned audience. The Today Show set, usually a bastion of morning cheer, crackled with unease as Chaka Khan's fiery retort hung in the air. Roker, known for his unflappable demeanor, struggled to regain control, his smile faltering as he apologized if his question came across wrong. He pivoted to Chaka's 2023 announcement of retiring from touring, asking if she'd miss the road and her fans' energy. Chaka, still bristling, answered curtly that she was prioritizing her life with her great-grandchildren and her mental health, a choice she felt the media rarely respected. She referenced her 2016 rehab stint for prescription pain medication, candidly sharing how she'd worked hard to reclaim her health and didn't need anyone questioning her decisions. Al, trying to show empathy, mentioned his own 2022 health scare with blood clots, suggesting they both knew the importance of self-care, but the comparison didn't land well. Chaka snapped that her struggles were public battles, dissected by tabloids, unlike his, which were framed as heroic recoveries. The audience shifted uncomfortably as she accused the media of holding black women to harsher standards, pointing to her 2018 performance where fans speculated she was drunk when she was battling the flu. Al, now on the defensive, insisted he'd always admired her resilience, citing her 2008 lawsuit ordeal with her son as a testament to her strength. Chaka's expression hardened as she didn't want her personal tragedies dragged into the conversation. She leaned forward, her voice low but piercing, telling Al that bringing up her son's legal issues was a cheap shot, especially when she was there to talk about her music and legacy. The tension was palpable, with co-hosts Hoda Kotb and Savannah Guthrie exchanging worried glances off-camera. Al, sensing the segment spiraling, suggested a commercial break, but Chaka wasn't ready to let it go. She stood, her voice steady, declaring that she didn't come on the show to be interrogated about her past but to celebrate her contributions to music. The audience held its breath as she removed her mic, her parting words a sharp rebuke of the media's obsession with drama over substance, leaving Al visibly shaken as the show cut to break. As the Today Show returned from commercial, the absence of Chaka Khan on the set was glaring. Al Roker, now alone, addressed the audience with a strained smile, explaining that Chaka had stepped away but would hopefully return to continue their discussion. He tried to pivot to a lighter topic, introducing a segment on holiday recipes, but the audience's murmurs and the online buzz on platforms like X indicated that viewers were fixated on the earlier clash. Social media posts speculated wildly, some praising Chaka for standing up to what they saw as Al's overstepping, others criticizing her for walking off mid-broadcast. Al, maintaining his professionalism, avoided directly addressing the argument, instead sharing a brief anecdote about his admiration for Chaka's 1978 hit "I'm Every Woman" and its empowering message. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to reach Chaka, who was reportedly in the green room, still upset but cooling down. A staffer later shared that Chaka felt blindsided by Al's line of questioning, particularly the mention of her son's 2008 lawsuit, which she'd worked hard to move past. The segment continued with Al joined by Hoda, who smoothly transitioned to a weather update, but the elephant in the room was unmistakable. On X, fans posted clips of the exchange, with hashtags like #ChakaKhan and #TodayShow trending. Some users referenced Chaka's 2023 apology for her Rolling Stone comments, suggesting she was unfairly targeted for her honesty, while others felt she overreacted to Al's questions. The online debate mirrored the studio's tension, with opinions split on whether Al's probing was journalistic curiosity or a misstep into personal territory. Meanwhile, Chaka's team issued a brief statement on her website, clarifying that she'd left the set to protect her mental health, echoing her 2023 comments about prioritizing self-care. The statement didn't mention Al directly but emphasized her desire to focus on her music and legacy, not media conflicts. As the show wrapped, Al signed off with his usual warmth, but his earlier unease lingered, leaving viewers wondering if the rift could be mended before Chaka's next public appearance. The aftermath of the Today Show incident dominated entertainment news, with outlets like People and TMZ dissecting the fiery exchange between Chaka Khan and Al Roker. Pundits debated whether Al's questions were fair or if they crossed a line by delving into Chaka's personal struggles, like her 2016 rehab and her son's legal issues. On X, fans rallied behind Chaka, posting throwback videos of her performances with Rufus and solo hits like Through the Fire, arguing that her contributions deserved respect, not sensationalism. Others felt Al was simply doing his job, pointing to his 2018 comments about handling tough interviews with professionalism after Matt Lauer's firing. Chaka, meanwhile, remained silent on social media, though her team hinted at an upcoming interview where she'd address the incident. Insiders reported that Chaka was frustrated not just with Al but with the broader media tendency to focus on her controversies like her 2019 lawsuit with her former manager or her 2020 comments about Ariana Grande rather than her musical achievements. The narrative around her, she felt, often painted her as Chaka the Terrible, a moniker from a 1986 Los Angeles Times article that she'd long outgrown. Al, for his part, faced scrutiny for his handling of the interview, with some critics noting that his 2022 health scare coverage never faced the same invasive questioning Chaka endured. The incident sparked a broader conversation about how black women in entertainment are portrayed, with references to Chaka's 2023 podcast remarks about the industry's double standards. On the Today Show's next broadcast, Al briefly addressed the situation, expressing respect for Chaka and regret if his questions caused offense, but he avoided a full apology, likely on the advice of producers wary of escalating the story. Off-air, sources said Al reached out to Chaka's team to smooth things over, hoping to invite her back for a future segment. The public awaited Chaka's next move, knowing her history of resiliency evident in her recovery from addiction and her 2023 Rock Roll Hall of Fame induction meant she wouldn't stay silent for long. Days after the Today Show clash, Chaka Khan re-emerged with a powerful statement during a radio interview, addressing the argument with Al Roker and reaffirming her commitment to her legacy. She acknowledged Al's professionalism but criticized the media's pattern of focusing on her past struggles like her 2016 rehab or the 2008 lawsuit over her contributions, like her 22 albums and 70 million records sold. Chaka emphasized her 2023 Rock Roll Hall of Fame induction and her new fragrance launch as proof of her enduring impact, urging fans to celebrate her art, not her conflicts. She admitted the walk-off was impulsive but necessary to protect her peace, echoing her 2023 decision to retire from touring to focus on family and self-care. On X, fans praised her candor, sharing clips of her 1984 I Feel For You performance and her 2023 American Music Awards appearance, reinforcing her status as an icon. Al Roker, meanwhile, took the high road, posting a supportive message about Chaka's influence, citing her 1978 anthem I'm Every Woman as a personal favorite. Behind the scenes, Today Show producers worked to repair the relationship, inviting Chaka for a future segment focused solely on her music. The incident, while heated, sparked a broader dialogue about respect for artists' boundaries, with Chaka's supporters arguing she'd earned the right to control her narrative after decades of scrutiny. Critics of the media pointed to her 2023 apology for her Rolling Stone comments as evidence of her willingness to take accountability, contrasting it with the industry's reluctance to do the same. As the dust settled, Chaka announced a one-off concert to celebrate her 50-year career, proving her focus remained on her art. The clash with Al, though a flashpoint, became a footnote in her storied journey, with fans and peers alike rallying to ensure her legacy as the Queen of Funk endure.